What's up, guys? I'm finally doing my long requested bikini competition Q&A. I've been asked to do this video since before I even started competing. That being said, I'm going to just hop right in because I have a ton of questions from you guys. Someone asked, did you guys find it stressful to prep together, or was it easier to help each other through it? I would say it was definitely, in our situation, helpful going through it together. We were going through a lot of stuff in our personal lives during prep, and so being on prep together actually kind of like brought us together during these really hard times. And Matt is not like your typical dieter. Like he didn't really get emotional. He didn't get like super hangry or anything like that. He was pretty even keeled basically his whole prep. So it was almost like he wasn't on prep and I was just on prep. Yeah, I would say that it was definitely better going through prep together, and that's actually what we would like to keep doing every time that we compete. We just go through prep together because I went through a prep by myself, and I definitely would say that it lacked the support that I had when he went through prep with me. Although I hear a lot of people say that they cannot prep at the same time as their significant other because like they're both really cranky and that they just can't do it. So I would say feel it out for yourself if you and your significant other are deciding to do that maybe. Someone asked about the politics of competing. Yeah, there are a lot of politics with competing, and I think depending on where you live, it might be a little bit different state by state, or even, you know, if you're in Canada or something like that. But I know in Michigan, the NPC, I've been told that it's getting better, but it's definitely political. Every state's political to a degree. You know, and by political, I mean that the people who get placed in the top 3, I would say, are often people who are clients of the judges. Like a lot of the times the judges are trainers and they are coaches, and they are training the people who are on stage. So that just, a lot of times you see a bias there. I've heard that especially on like a national level, there's even crazier things like girls sleeping with their coaches and stuff like that. I don't know anything about that personally. I've obviously never gotten to a national level, so that's stuff that I've heard almost firsthand. So it sucks, but kind of know going in that there could potentially be a political aspect of your show where whoever gets top 3 or top 5 or whatever isn't necessarily, especially like in first place, second place, I think that that's like really where it can get political, where it's not even so much about the physique as it is who you know at that point or who you're working with. So just keep that in mind if you're deciding to compete and you really, really want to take home that trophy. That's really all I'm going to say about that, because me even talking about the politics of the NPC could get me in trouble in my area. So what makeup do you recommend for competition prep? I would like to save a bit, but I don't know what makeup to get. If you really are not good at makeup, I do suggest hiring a makeup artist to do your makeup, because you want, you know, a specific look obviously, and you don't want to look like you don't know how to do your makeup. But what I say for pretty much everyone, and what I do for my clients when I do makeup for girls who are going on stage, you want your face to be a little bit lighter than the rest of your body. I can actually show you the makeup that I use. This is actually what I use on my clients when people hire me for makeup for competitions. It is Revlon Color Stay for combination oily skin in the shade Caramel, or 400. This is pretty close to like the competition tan itself. It's maybe like just 1 or 2 shades up, but by the time that I add some like highlighter to your face and a concealer in a lighter color and stuff like that, this really isn't the same color as like the rest of your tan. And you do want your face to be a little bit lighter than your tan, not obnoxiously, but you don't want your face to match the rest of your tan. Little tip. So I really like this. This is like $10 a bottle in stores. So in terms of foundation, that's what I would suggest. I would also go and get like a bronzer that's for like black people, like literally super dark bronzer. And outside of that though, the rest of your makeup should work. I definitely suggest getting false lashes. I definitely suggest going a little bit darker on the eye, but don't do anything that you feel uncomfortable with or that doesn't look like something that you want to look like. But by and large, face makeup, the Revlon, dark contouring is what you're gonna wanna do. And yeah. What body fat percentage do most bikini competitors step on stage at? This is actually pretty different for everybody. I stepped on stage at, I think I was just under 17%, and I think I know I could have come in a little bit leaner, but I don't think I would have wanted to come in by much leaner. I think that 14 to 15% is where I'm gonna be happy when I see myself on stage, because I don't want to be super like dry. I want to, you know, look like a bikini competitor, but everyone's different. Some girls look their best at 10-12% body fat. I've even seen some girls come in at like 8 to 9% body fat for bikini, which I don't think is necessary. I mean, technically they're looking for a softer look. They're not looking for like a super hard look like they are in figure. Although it depends on the show you're going to, and it depends on who's judging, and it depends on what state you're in, because everyone's kind of looking for something different nowadays. Bikini's not really like cut and dry on what they're looking for, but I would say 10 to 12% is not usually necessary. If I were to give a range, I would say somewhere between like 12 and 18%. I know that sounds really high, but like I said, I stepped on stage at like 16 or 17% and I didn't look bad. I could have come in tighter, but like I didn't look bad. So it really just depends on how you hold it. How did you and your husband place at the end of the competition? You both look amazing in this picture. Matt placed close to last, I think, in most categories, but my husband is 6'8" and he really didn't start lifting like consistently until this year. He was always a lifter and he's always done lifting because he's been an athlete his whole life, but it's really hard to add muscle to a 6'8" frame, especially if you're not purposely really trying. And like I said, he wasn't really trying until this year. So when he leaned down, he was just really small. You know, he just didn't have a ton of mass on him. He got shredded, but he just didn't have a ton of mass on him, so he didn't place extremely well. Whereas I think my placement, I competed in novice, true novice, and open. I think in open I was, actually I couldn't even tell you. Wait, I think I have it on my phone. Okay, so in true novice I placed 12th out of 26 girls. In novice I placed 11th out of 17 girls. Yeah. And in open Class C, I placed 9th out of 14 girls. So not great, definitely not great, but not awful. I think if I remember, I was second call-outs in 2 of my classes and third call-outs in the last one, or something like that. As you can see, it was like kind of a bigger show. There was, you know, 15 to 25 girls in each of my classes. Definitely would love to crack into top 5, but mostly this year, if I compete again, I just want to place better than last year, and I want to look better than last year, more importantly. Okay, so I'm confused as to which NPC divisions first-time amateurs can compete in. A lot of them said championships. Can brand new competitors compete in those comps? I think you're asking like what types of shows can first-time competitors compete in, and you can compete in local shows. You can compete in shows that have national qualifications to them. I guess the only thing you really can't compete at is a national level show. Those you have to qualify for by competing on a more local level at a show that's a national qualifier. Now, not every show is a national qualifier. Some local shows you take home first place and that's all you get. You're not qualified to step on a national stage. And I think to get nationally qualified, you have to place top 2. Don't quote me on that. It might be just first place, but I think you have to place first or second in open class, whatever you're competing in, which means open is like all the bikini girls, whereas true novice is the bikini girls who have never competed at all. Novice is the bikini girls who have competed before but never placed top 5, I think. And then open is like, you know, the pros and the new people. So, and that's why open is usually a pretty big class and it's hard to place well in that the first time around. Cost of competitions and any tips or tricks you utilize to save money. How much do competitions cost? A lot. For starters, you're gonna have to pay for your coaching. You know, obviously membership at a gym. You can technically prep for a show without a gym membership, I guess, if you like have some workout equipment at home, but you really are gonna want like several cardio pieces and like lots of heavy weights if you're looking to compete, because you're just not going to build the same type of physique with like lighter weights or like weights at home and stuff like that. Cost of supplements, cost of whatever food that you're eating, and that's kind of all built in. If you live a healthy lifestyle, that's stuff you pay for anyway. Cost of training, possibly like in-person training if you have like a local trainer at your gym. The big costs are going to be that you may not think about is the cost to enter the show, and the cost to cross over to each division. It costs money to go in each division, like, you know, true novice, novice, and open. I think it costs and money for your NPC card. It's like $100 or so for your NPC card. It's usually about $100 maybe to enter into one division, and then another $50 or $75 for every division you cross over into. Your suit, holy moly, it's so expensive. Most of the suits like start around $200 and can go up to like $500 or $600. It's nuts. So one way that I saved money with my suit is by getting a plain suit from Angel Competition Bikinis, which I think is like, I think when I bought it a year and a half ago, it was $125. I think that they maybe are up to $150 or $175, but that's still cheaper than anything you can get just about anywhere else. They're really well made. They like, it comes with like all the like little attachments and stuff like that on like the hips and the in between and stuff, all the connectors I should say. This was my bikini. I got it in like a teal blue color, which I was a little bit more blonde, I feel like, for my show, so I just thought that the blue looked really nice. This had nothing on this part of the bikini when I got it. It was just like this plain shimmery fabric. If this will focus. I want you guys to see this. Really nice fabric though. And I bought a tulle. I bought this little guy from Michael's, maybe? Joann Fabrics, I'm not sure. But it's like this little, is it showing you guys? I don't know. It's like a little bedazzler essentially, and you put batteries in here, you hold this down, and is there a light coming on? I think so. But as you're holding this down, the tip gets really, really hot, and you buy these gems that have glue on the back of them. I think they're called Hot Fix gems. You can get a ton of them for super cheap online. I think I got mine from Hobby Lobby, also cheap, and you can get them in a million sizes and colors. So you lay the gem just on top of the bikini like this, and then you wait until this gets like nice and hot, and you rest it right on top of the gem and hold it there for like, I think I would hold it for like 15 seconds. And that sends heat from the top of the gem to the bottom of the gem to where the glue is. It melts the glue and like sticks it onto the bikini. And that's how I tediously did all of these. I will say that a couple of the gems fell off the day of my show, which is also not surprising just because I didn't do it like professionally, but it really, you can't tell from stage, especially if you've got a lot of gems on there. You really can't tell, and the total cost of that was like maybe $25 for like all the tools and the gems and stuff like that. So total cost for my bikini was like $150, I think, whereas to get a bikini like this is like $300, $325, and I've seen girls like really bedazzle these up, and those kind of bikinis cost like $500. So that's one way to save money. Everything else though, like, you can't really get around the cost of an NPC card, can't get around the cost of entering for the divisions. You can do your own spray tan technically for the show, but I highly, highly do not recommend that. I highly recommend going with it, whatever company is sponsoring the event that you're going to, or I recommend that you come to my tanning company that I work with, which is Eclipse Tanning. We're in Michigan, but we do a lot of shows kind of like across the country. But yeah, I've seen people do their own tan, but it's really hard to make sure your color is exactly right. The tan company that sponsors the show, that's what everybody's gonna look like, is they're gonna all be wearing that same tan color. You do not wanna stick out against all these other tan people with a tan that's too light or too dark. You want your tan to look like everybody else's, trust me. And whenever tan company's sponsoring the show, we're gonna be backstage, like touching up your tan, glazing you up and stuff like that. It's just so much easier to let the tan people do their job as opposed to you trying to like handle it yourself, in my opinion. As someone who's competed and now works on the tanning side and sees everybody's mistakes when they don't work with us. But all that to say, competition tans can be upwards of $100, yes, just for your 2 coats of tan. And that's a cost that is really hard to get around. Not to mention your competition jewelry, you know, your heels, they're gonna be another $50 or $60. Oh, and you know, a lot of times people are gonna stay in a hotel like the night before and possibly the night after their show, just so that they have somewhere to go during the day between like morning show and night show, which is what we did. That's another, you know, $75, $100, $125 a night. All in all, I would say that between my coaching, which was the most expensive thing, my bikini, entering in like all the divisions and stuff, my tan, I'm gonna throw a number out there that I'm not sure is correct, but I would say $2,000 to compete. Yeah, probably close to 2,000, maybe like 1,700, but definitely more than like 1,500. So yeah, it adds up. Were the people in the ministry supportive, or what did they think, being a pastor's wife and all? I'm actually not a pastor's wife, I'm a minister's wife. My husband is a minister at our church, he's not the pastor. And my husband was laid off for almost the entire duration of our prep. Not because of our prep, but for other reasons. So we went through most of our prep without being at the church. I mean, we were attending as like congregation members, but he wasn't employed there. So it was a little bit easier to kind of like slide under the radar, although he got hired back like 2 weeks out from our show. And he talked to like my pastor, and he talked to some people on staff, and he said, hey, this is what we're doing, just so you guys know. And they were like, that's fine. To be totally honest, they said like, we would prefer if you didn't like blast it all over Facebook or anything, because Facebook is kind of like the bigger deal at my church. But I thought that that was fair, you know, that they didn't want a bunch of people seeing us in our skivvies, essentially. I guess to answer that, yeah, I didn't really have a lot of people saying that much that I know of. I'm sure there are people who have said plenty behind my back, but whatever. My family was super supportive though. My dad didn't really understand it, but he could see that I was working really hard and that Matt was doing it and that our hearts were in it for the right reasons. And my mom just supports everything that I do no matter what. I mean, I could like do just about anything and she would just be super supportive of it and think it's awesome. So yeah. How long is the typical prep? I don't think there's necessarily a typical prep for anybody, but they usually say for women at least, you know, give yourself enough time to be averaging about 1.5 pounds of weight loss per week. So like see how much weight you think you have to lose before stepping on stage and give yourself at least 1 pound per week or 1.5 pounds per week. So I prepped for 22 weeks. A lot of my friends average about 16. Some can do it in 12 if they stay pretty lean, but I would say 16 is probably average. How do you choose what show to do? Talk to people who have competed locally before and ask their opinion. Honestly, that's kind of what I did, but I also kind of just chose a random show. It also really helps to go to these shows. Like the year before you're gonna compete, or like if you're thinking about competing next year, start going to some local shows and just seeing what they're like, seeing if you like a bigger show or if you prefer a smaller show. Look up pictures from the years before of that exact show and see kind of like what the people look like, what, you know, how many athletes are there and stuff like that, stuff that might matter to you. I personally prefer really big shows, like the bigger the better, but some people don't like that. They like smaller shows. They feel a little bit better about a smaller show because they're more likely to place better, but I just think a big show is really fun. Did you feel post-show blues and gain weight without having a set goal anymore? I did not feel post-show blues. I didn't feel it at all, which is weird because a lot of people feel it, like a lot of people, like almost everybody feels like post-show blues. I was just not sad. Like I wasn't depressed. I didn't feel aimless. I didn't feel like I didn't have goals. Like my new goal was now my reverse diet and making sure that I stayed on top of that. And that was a goal for me and something that I cared enough about to like stick to it. But post-show blues are so real for so many people. So don't assume that you're going to be like me and not experience that. I think also what helped is that I launched my personal training business literally the week after my show. So I had like this new and exciting thing in my life that gave me something else to kind of be excited about and focus on, and I was like launching into this new phase of life, I don't know, and so I guess I just didn't really have a reason to have any post-show blues because I was so excited about my life. And that's, you know, if you're a fit person that likes to work out and maybe you haven't competed yet and you're thinking about competing, just remember after your show that you're still a fit person who likes to work out, and remember that you like the gym. Remember that you like eating well and that you don't need a stage to be able to do that for yourself, you know? And find, you know, make time for hobbies that maybe you didn't have time for, or people that you didn't have time for while you were in prep. Like find things to look forward to after your show other than stepping on a stage. I will say though that it was a little harder to stick to my diet, my reverse diet, and I'd say I only really stuck to my reverse diet for about 6 or 7 weeks. I think I stuck to it for about 6 or 7 weeks, and after that I was just like, whatever, dude. And it wasn't because it was of post-show blues, it was just like life was getting a little bit more crazy and it was harder to like keep track of my meals and stuff. I was going on vacation a lot and traveling a lot. My birthday was coming up, our anniversary was coming up, stuff that I didn't want to be tracking my macros for. So it just got to a point where I just was like, Alright, you guys, well that's just gonna about do it for this video. Like and subscribe to my channel because I think I am cool. Leave a comment below if you have any other questions about competing. I don't think I'll do a second video, but I definitely will answer any questions that you guys have. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. As always, hope you're enjoying Vlogmas this year, and see ya.